Hey y'all, so this is a little impromptu tarot reading slash oracle reading, and we're going to pull up some cards for the energy. Usually on this page, paint your truth _ don't forget the underscore. I more so focus on process painting, but I just had the inspiration and the spark to draw some energies for the collective, especially since we are closing chapters. This is the harvest season, as well as we just celebrated a major holiday, which is Thanksgiving, now known as Indigenous Peoples Day. But also for those who just don't celebrate holidays, they're not jingoistic, they're not patriotic, they just enjoy the time off. That was a period for people to rest, to eat, to commune with family, to commune with community members, and so on and so forth. So with this cycle of ending the year, but also welcoming new beginnings like the 2023 year, but also just new opportunities within our lives. So I'm going to draw some energy for the collective, especially in regards to endings in relationships, endings in behavior patterns, ending in, let's say, self-sabotage, or whatever the case may be. But as always, before we get into the cards that are right next to me and I get into the jazzest things, let's clear out this energy, and then we're gonna tap 3 times with the singing bowl. So let me clear out the energy. Clear out any energy that does not benefit us, does not put us in its highest vibration. Let us get clear messages. Let us be in our positive and most enchanting and abundant energy. Let us be present. Let us be full. Let us be enlightened and full of light. Ashe, ashe. Okay. And 3 taps with a singing bowl. Inhale, exhale. And somebody's ancestor just reminded me that, and not just reminded me, but like reminded me that we are in cold and flu season, on top of monkeypox, on top of COVID-19. So therefore, please keep your precautions still up to date. The regular procedures that y'all always was doing for cold and flu, like hopefully washing your hands, hand sanitizers, if you are feeling ill, secluding yourself from the collective physically until you are better and you are healed and you are ready to be back into the collective. A part of healing and a part of just being a more spiritual person, a more in tune person, a more aware person, you also have to recognize when you are not up to code, when you are ill, when you are sick, when you need time off, when you need to rest, to take that time out for self. It's not just about reading the collective energy. It's not just about love and light and crystals. It's also about literal physical health. It's also about literal mental health. And it's also about accountability. So this is still that season. I don't know if it snowed near you. I know Western New York had a large snow a couple of days ago. But regardless of what, please keep the precautions still up to date, especially when we are in the collective. I, myself, still mask up. Ain't nobody feeling to tell me not to mask up, and I wouldn't take them seriously anyways. So please look out for your own physical health, as well as you look out for your spiritual health. So that is the, I guess, PSA that I have. But let's break into the cards. So we have 3 decks we're working with. We're working with Earth Magic Oracle deck. Then we are working with the Sacred Self-Care Oracle deck. And then we will top it off with the Good Tarot deck. So let's start off with Earth Magic. Not only as an earth sign, the Taurus that I am, a Taurus in the 8th house, but I do really love these cards. They're very intentional, they're very beautiful, and don't we all need a little magic in our lives? So as I stated earlier, we will be focusing more so on cycles, ending cycles, transitioning. Maybe you're a Scorpio yourself and just ended Scorpio season and moved into Sagittarius season. So it's the energy of moving and shaking. It's the energy of upgrading your consciousness, your awareness. If you are interested in learning new things, this is the opportunity to do so. If you've ever wanted to discover new things, I know a lot of people are going to be traveling because it is still the holiday seasons. We ended Thanksgiving, also known as Indigenous Peoples Day, also known as just a national holiday for those who just are not even into the politics of it all, though I do agree with Indigenous Peoples Day as my favorite term of them all. But and it is to be used as the time for mourning for the natives who literally were genocided off of their land. But so yeah, so the holiday seasons are just beginning. We will also be doing Christmas, and for those who have experienced a lot of trauma, especially family trauma, generational trauma, it could be trauma from the family, it could be such trauma such as like being parentalized, or having faced a lot of childhood adversity. There is an actual test which is called the ACE test. It's called adverse childhood experience test. So it's a ranking of experiences that people could go through in childhood, and depending on how many of these experiences, it depends on how high their ACE score is. So unlike traditional tests where you want the highest, we all hope for that 100, but we'll settle with like an 87. With the ACE test, it's the opposite. You would want as little adverse childhood experiences, because the higher you grade on that test, the worse the trauma tends to be. And with trauma tends to come poverty, which comes to generational cycles of certain patterns of behavior and so on and so forth. So we know that these adversities can impact us not only in childhood, but continue to follow us in adulthood. And even if we end up having children, could even follow within our children's children. And this is how certain maladaptive behaviors tend to be described as generational curses or generational cycles, because you see the same social or familiar type of maladaptive behaviors showing up throughout the generation. So if that is your story, so to speak, this is the reading for you to really understand what spirit, your ancestors, or just even your mental health, let's really get into it. Your subconscious, like, let's really get into it. Your shadow, like, let's really get into it. Like, your dark night of the soul, like, let's really get into it. Is really asking you to take from this season, and in this season, learn within this season, so you can prepare yourself for what 2023 is going to give. Okay? So what is the message for the collective who will be watching this video, Spirit? This Earth Magic Oracle deck. Interesting. Because there's one card, if y'all saw it, that I really wanted to come out, but it didn't flip over, so I didn't dig it. Then these cards kind of like exploded. So it's giving me very much Scorpio energy, very much giving me ending death card. Hopefully it's not as like bombastic. But if it is, it is. Like, sometimes that's just what that is. Like, this was like Thanksgiving. Some people really had some hard conversations with their families. Some people were holding their family accountable, especially these Gen Zers. Not for nothing, as a millennial, and I feel like I'm pretty, like, say it with my chest out unapologetically, but Gen Zers, they don't F around. They don't F around. They will call you out quick, fast, in a hurry. They snatch edges for fun. These Gen Zers, they have no fucks to give. They have none whatsoever. They don't even try to play that civility. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So these little babies went back home and told their parents about themselves. They said, I can't stand for bigotry. I can't stand for homophobia. I can't stand for transphobia. I can't stand for anti-blackness. Like, when is you gonna get your shit together? Like, when you gonna stop being a bigot? When you gonna stop being a racist? There's no more excuses. Like, I feel like a lot of edges was snatched completely, Mr. Clean, cleaned. No more follicles. And I feel like this is that time, because this is what, I don't want to say this, but since we live in a capitalist society, commodification and all that materialistic stuff, it's kind of like pressure makes diamonds. In the sense of like, this is the time where people are like, where do you stand? Stand on your square. Do you love me? Are we moving forward? You don't? Let it be over. It's very much like we need to know what side is what side. Like now we see the class warfare of it all, where we're seeing things are getting up and up and up in prices, but the quality is going low and low and low and low. We're seeing like the jig is up for the collective. However this resonates for whoever's reading or listening to this reading. It's like you're asking, or your ancestors, your spiritual teams, your light workers, the people who are on your side, nationwide is on your side. It could be even the insurance company. It's just like it's one of this energy is just like, I need to know what it is for the last and final time, so I can plan accordingly what my next steps are. Because I feel like a lot of y'all have came to a head with a lot of things where you thought you were never going to be in this situation, or you thought things were going to happen before this present moment, or you thought this person was this way, then you found out that they were that way. It's just like something came ahead, something like poof, where it's just like, this ain't it, a sudden realization, this ain't it, and I need to figure out what is it, because this cannot continue to be not it, but me pretending like it is. So with the energy that we have now, we have ocean, web and flow, and we have desert, vision, quest. And it's interesting because they're like polar opposites. They're like yin yang. Not even yin yang. It's one like opposition, right? The North Node currently is in Scorpio and the South Node is currently in Taurus. So they are oppositions, kind of like the full moon in Taurus that just passed. That was in Scorpio season. The opposition, the ability to see things 360, the ability to see things from all different angles to make a concise decision. It's not just what I want to see or what I think it should be. It's just what it is. Just tell me the truth. And with this ebb and flow desert vision quest, it's like trying to find a balance between two ends to make a happy middle. With ocean, web and flow here, it's about being intuitive, but not just sitting on that intuition, but doing something about it. It's kind of like, let's say for, Thanksgiving. I'm the type of person around this season, I'm not really big on family. I'm not really close to minds, but I geek out over all types of like Christmas family, Hallmark, Oprah own channel, what's the other one? It's Lifetime. How can we forget Lifetime? Okay, Lifetime, own channel, Hallmark, Christmas holiday movies. I am here for it. All of it. All the cheesiness, all the bourgeois, all the happy, all of it. I know it's so fake. I know it, but I love to indulge in it. Like, that is like my brain version of eating junk food. Okay? So, but that's not the collective. That's not the collective. Just like junk food isn't like food we eat on the regular. Hopefully you're not eating like burgers and Doritos and Pepsis on the regular. But if you are eating that on the regular, for most people, it's out of, this is the accessibility that I am given with my material condition, versus I'm doing it because I don't know anything about health and I just want to risk my health during these chaotic times of COVID and be unresponsible and abuse my body. It's usually out of circumstance or learned behavior. Sometimes it could be maladaptive behavior. Sometimes people eat out of trauma, stress eating, but sometimes it could be out of like physical abuse or sexual trauma. So eating could make the person feel good about themselves, and maybe it's a coping mechanism for said trauma. So I feel like with this ebb and flow and this desert vision quest here is trying to find peace within yourself, but also use that intuition and act upon it, where it's like not just sitting on, I think my significant other is cheating on me, but I love him or I love her, I love them, I love the life that we created together, so I'm just going to rest on that, versus like I need accountability, I need STD checks, I need full transparency. Like it's one of those things where it's like you can't idly live in your life. Like you can't be idly by in your life. Like you cannot be on do not disturb in your life. Like you cannot just rest on your laurels and be like, God will figure it out, or someone else will do it for me, or things will just happen to come together. It's like, no. If you think something, seek it through. If you feel something, seek it through. Because this is the time where it's like, if you know you dealing with a snake, or you think you're dealing with a snake, this is the time to figure out if this snake is poisonous or not. Okay, this is the time to figure it out, especially if you're sitting on a heavy life insurance policy, especially if you got something that someone would enviously take from you. Like, you gotta know what you're dealing with, because these are precarious times, so you need to know who's in your circle and who's advocating for you, who's supporting you, or who's waiting for you to slip up or for you to be caught off guard to take advantage. And the ability to see that is also the ability to step away from the collective and step away from the situation and see it from a different angle. Oftentimes when our feelings are in it, we get complicated. Our signals, kind of like a radar. Instead of like a submarine, you're just boom, 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 like giving out the signal of where you are, because your feelings are in it, because let's say your memories are in it, your passion is in it, the idealism of all of it is in it. It's kind of like, well, they could change, or like, you know, maybe I'm overreacting. And it's like, could be, but do you want to take that L of like being slightly insecure, or do you want to take the L of being publicly humiliated and taken advantage of? Like, which L do you want to be? It's kind of reminds me of that Netflix movie documentary thing where this woman would talk about she got scammed by a guy on Tinder, and she was like, I met him in a month and I already gave him my social security, my passcode to my bank account. I told him my blood type, I told him my address. I'm like, Ma, how you meet a man in a month and he got you that open? Like, how? Like, that's just not reasonable. And even if he wasn't a scammer, that's fast, like really fast. But in this example, if she wasn't rushing to have like the man, the house, the image, then she would have noticed and picked up on some slightly undesirable behaviors and characteristic traits, and she would have been like, I just met you and you're really asking questions I don't feel comfortable answering. Like, I just met you and you're really in my pockets. But because she wasn't thinking with the intent of what a practical as a Taurus, practical mate should be like, she was looking for the aesthetics. She was looking for someone to plop into her life so the image can be completed, versus a real human to human interaction, versus taking the good, the bad, the ugly, and hopefully the bad and the ugly is not that bad. Like, that bad would be like an abuser. The ugly might be like, they snore at night, or the bad might be, they don't like to season their food. Like, it's like, we could work on that, right? It's not like, don't leave your kids around them because they got some R. Kelly tendencies. Like, that's not the equivalency, right? But being able to feel your intuition, feel your feelings, but then be able to think practical about it and being able to act upon it is what's really going to enable you in the next cycle, the 2023 year, to be able to start this new cycle on a balanced foot. Like, really being able to see things from a clear perspective, especially when things change. You got to change your life, you got to change your plans. Life gives you a detour. Sometimes it feels like it takes you so off course where you feel like you'll never get back on course. You feel like you're so deep in a hole where you feel you'll never come out. I just feel like your spiritual team is very much saying, just keep on going. Just keep on going. Because the bottom of the deck we have Lotus Flower, Unfoldment. So again, 2023 is to come. I feel like there's passion, there's love, there's new beginning. There might be children. There's a lot of creativity. It is telling you to hold on, but it's also telling you like there are things you just got to cut off right here and now, and make sure that you make room for that so you can make room for these new beginnings. Because some things you just can't take with you. Sometimes it's just the end of the road and you just got to accept that. You as a person cutting the person off, or you as the person being cut off, however it works for you, however it resonates for you, you can't make a thing that's not working work. It's kind of like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. That's insanity. Like, you shouldn't do that. Especially since you're just only going to wear yourself out. You're only going to be mad at the end of the day. You're only going to end up ruminating on things and then blaming yourself for something that you kind of already knew was going to happen. It's kind of sick. It's kind of sick. And I just heard, go to therapy. If it resonates with you, go to therapy. I've been to therapy. I will never knock therapy. Therapy is great, especially if you are a person who has been adultified in their childhood, a person who was maybe emotionally abused, maybe emotionally manipulated, maybe a little too naive, maybe you weren't able to express your feelings as a child, maybe you grew up in a household where it's like children are supposed to be seen but not heard. Just like maybe you fear confrontation, or you fear not being liked, maybe much of a people pleaser. However it works, I'm feeling or seeing boundaries, lack of boundaries, or not being able to read other people's boundaries. I'm feeling the energy of maladaptive attachment style, so very much either very insecure, needy, clingy, or very much like avoidant, so like silent treatment, one word responses, ghosting people, leaving people on red, like that type of energy. If that's you, that's not any shade, but you could definitely work it out in therapy, and I would suggest to do so. Last shuffle. So this is the self-care oracle deck. Let's see what we have for the collective. Okay, we have make a meal. Interesting. Make a meal. Because on my YouTube channel, when I do full moon ceremonies, Patriot Truth on YouTube, might I add, check them out, because I do full moon ceremonies for each month. This actually came for the collective as well. Make a meal, number 32. So look out for that reading. It's already up there on the YouTube channel, so check it out. But make a meal is very important, and we just celebrated Thanksgiving. So if you got the leftovers, like, definitely eat them before somebody else eats them. I would be remiss if I didn't say that as a Taurus. Go eat the snacks, go eat the extras, go eat the last turkey, like, eat, right? But on top of that, I feel like someone really got to know their family, or know where their family comes from, or the struggles of their families through the family dinner. Again, this could be hard conversations, but this could also be like, wow, like, I never really knew what my family went through. Like, I never really understood the triumphs that my family went through. Like, I understand why we eat this type of dish, why this is significant for us, why we do the celebration, the ceremony. I feel like there was a lot of wisdom in that. I feel like a lot of people learned more about Native American culture, and Thanksgiving is not supposed to be this whole, like, we love America, as opposed to like recognizing like the genocide of the Native Americans, recognizing like how we got to where we are now, the system of things. This system did not just become corrupt overnight. You can't push people off their land and then say this is justice and liberty and all that fairness, when how fair is genocide? So it's like these hard conversations over bread and breaking bread makes it easier, or makes it less stressful, as opposed to like, let's say, debating, or let's say as opposed to getting dragged on social media. Some people got dragged because they really can't cook. I don't know what to tell you. I've seen some place on these Twitter streets that had me howling. Okay, I was like, what is that? I'm offended as a Taurus. But outside of the keys, it was a really good place. I seen some real plates where I know there was so much black soul in that. I could feel it through the screen, okay? But a lot of people realized they were actually good cooks too. A lot of people really like tested themselves, kind of made something different, kind of like got into the cooking in the kitchen and heard some stories, had some laughs, made some dishes, tried some new foods. Some people expanded their horizons. Some people's kids only came for the graham crackers. They wasn't really into the turkey. They wasn't really into the mashed potatoes. Leave the kids alone, okay? At least the kid ate, okay? okay? Parents are stressed out. The grocery bill is way too damn high. Nobody got money. If the kid felt full with the graham crackers, leave little Bobby to eat the crackers. Leave Bobby to eat the crackers. Leave Bobby alone. So I feel like there was just a mix of emotions. But like making a meal and then eating a meal, especially a good meal where you feel like you put your foot in it, makes everything feel present, where it's like everything in the world is everything in the world, but right here and right now I'm in a good space and I'm gonna enjoy being in this good space. And if you're not really good into like healthy eating and whatnot, this might be the time to get into healthy eating. This might be the time to learn new recipes. And the good thing about being a millennial, being on the internet, you don't need to get no cookbook. You could watch these videos, okay? You can get these recipes online. You could print them out. You could do them and watch them over your phone. Like, you don't got to go the extra mile. It's really all at your fingertips. So learn something new. Learn how to season your food. It's crazy. It's crazy in these 2022 streets. People still to this day have no idea how to season food. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's an abomination. Especially with all these cooking shows. And y'all still out here not cooking. Right. Correct. For taste. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's madness. It's madness. You can put a man on the moon and you can't season your food. Like, what is going on? But anywho, we have number 23. Interesting. 3223, bottom of the deck, family. Don't we love it? Don't we love when spirit aligns with the message? Don't we love it? So yes, family. Just embracing each other and accepting each other. Interesting about accepting each other. Yesterday, I was binge watching a Canadian TV show called Sort of. It's called Sort of. And it's starring a Pakistani trans woman. And the dialogue is so rich and so relatable. And I am a cis hetero American Black woman, okay? So totally opposite, but I related to the character of Sabi so much, not only because I am bicultural, so my parents are from Haiti and I was born in the United States, not only for the fact that I have relinquished that title of being the strong friend, but I certainly was, and I could see my old self through Sabi. I was very much entertaining a F boy at the particular time, who looking back at it could have been a little curvy, and I didn't see it looking back at things. But fourthly, what really resonated with Sabi and I was the fact that Sabi was out here taking care of everybody, martyring for everybody, loving on everybody, being here for everybody but Sabi. And I was just like, oh my God, why are you exposing me like this? Like, oh my God, why are you strumming my pain with your fingers? Like, why are you calling me out? I'm so offended. And I was just like, oh my God, that was me. Like, literally, like, listen to everybody's problems, solving for everybody's situation. You know, when the other friends cancel, call me up and I will say yes. Like, very much of that. And I was just like, wow. And every time Sabi would sacrifice herself for somebody else, or sacrifice their decision, or put someone else before them, I'm just like, Sabi, no, Sabi, no, Sabi, no. But I'm just like, that's your character. So you obviously are. And it's a part of like that rejection, that mother energy. We're not going to get into it in this particular reading, but the next full moon, which will be in what? Not the next full moon, but the moon after that. So when the full moon is in Cancer, we're really going to be talking about that mother energy, that mother wound. We're really going to talk about that like betrayal of the mother. This is not that reading, but 2 full moons from now, that will be the reading. But it starts off with that mother wound because we get introduced to Sabi's mother, and Sabi's mother did know that Sabi may be queer, but did not know Sabi was trans. And then the process of seeing Sabi finding their own voice through the series by being the free person, trans, the way that Sabi's cis hetero mother couldn't. In the sense of like, she had to play that Pakistani traditional housewife role, where she's surrounded by the patriarchs. Her whole life is to be dedicated to her kids. Like, she could not discover herself, find herself, develop herself, because she had to uphold traditions. Whereas Sabi, just existing as a trans woman, is breaking tradition. So it's that tug and pull between be my son and be your true self. And that true self is a trans woman. And that's that tug and pull between the relationship between Sabi and the Pakistani mother, that tug and pull. But also within the Pakistani mother, realizing that, yes, I want to be a dutiful wife, doing all the Muslim Pakistani housewife shit that you want from me. But also, what do I want for myself? What do I want to develop myself? I said I want this home renovation of the kitchen, but my husband, who works all the time, who's not in the home because he works internationally, left me to raise these kids. I do everything for everybody else, but this is my one simple pleasure, and my husband talking about who gonna pay for it. And it's not even like he doesn't have it, as opposed to just like when Congress, whenever we said we want $15 minimum wage, we want universal health care, we want dignified jobs, what does Congress tells us? Who gonna pay for it? Who gonna pay for it? We the tax dollars, we ain't got it. We not taxing the rich, so we ain't got it. Because they are the rich. Nancy Pelosi is very rich. So she like, no, I'm not taking my money to give it to y'all. Next. But when it comes to Ukraine, you get $1 billion. You get $1 billion. You get 15. You get 40. You get 100,000. Billions forever. Billions. The American people, we ain't got it. So this is very much that energy where it's like, with the Pakistani mom, she's like, I want the home renovation. Why am I not being able to say renovation? I want the kitchen renovation. So like, let's make it happen, Captain. And the husband's like, who gonna pay for it? It's just to little blow her. It's just to put her in her place. And then the more the mother recognizes that she played a role for other people, and men in particular, and that patriarchy, which is not this particular reading, it's a doozy. She realized that her need to be free is parallel to Sabi's need to be free, which is to be accepted as a trans woman. And not just as a trans woman, but just a person. Like me, as a black woman, not being accepted as a black woman, but just being accepted as a human being. Because I deserve that dignity. I deserve that humanity. That's just what that is. Not do you like black people? Do you like black women? Like, that's not the question. That's not the analysis. It's just humankind. That is it. That is all. So, hard conversations indeed. But yes, 23 family, 32 make a meal. It's easier to have these conversations, especially when we're talking about this mother wound, if we are stuffing our faces. And we certainly saw sort of. They definitely did stuff their faces with white rice and chicken curry. Pooh. Now, let's get into some tarot cards for the collective. Let me put this to the side. Okay. And some people, they didn't celebrate anything with family. They didn't do anything family. They went to Friendsgiving. I did Friendsgiving. Some people, they just celebrated alone, or they didn't do anything. They kept to themselves. And it could have been like, I just want to be in my own little bubble. I just want some me time. But it could also have been like isolation, loneliness, not connecting to anybody. So this could be friends, family, community, just very much isolated hermit. So keep in mind with the analysis. Because sometimes alone does not equal lonely, but sometimes people do be lonely and they tell themselves that they're just alone, but they're really lonely. So how do you address that need? Interesting, because I didn't even shuffle, but I didn't shuffle for a card to pop up, but I was shuffling to shuffle the cards. the Empress fell over on itself as I was shuffling, and it's number 3, Empress. I'm gonna actually continue to shuffle until I actually do it the typical way of cards coming out. But this is an energy of, like, again, could be in regards to mother. This could be mother energy, it could be mother wound, or it could be you becoming a mother, or you mothering yourself from those traumas, from those wounds, from those hurts. So instead of waiting for the apology, waiting for the mother to acknowledge the harm that was done, is very much like, you know what, I'm not looking for that apology. I don't need that apology, because I know me. I know what I can give myself, what I can heal myself, what I can do for myself. I know that you're not capable of stepping up to the plate. I know that you're not capable of taking accountability. I like being able to see that and not make it a me thing, especially, ooh, child, we're going into mother wounds. If y'all watch the show, PValley, it's giving me very much Mercedes type of tease. You don't get to choose your family blood-wise, but you do get to choose your family soul-wise. So however that resonates for folks, you may not be able to choose your family blood-wise, but you do get to choose your family soul-wise. There are some people, they are not related by the slightest, okay? But you can't tell them nothing. They are brothers, they are sisters, they are cousins, they are besties. They share the same heartbeat. I feel like if that resonates for you, you made the right choice. If you had to go no contact, if you had to ice people out, if you had to set boundaries, that was the right decision to do. And you shouldn't feel bad about that. Like, everybody's situation ain't everybody's situation, right? It's, child, I'm just giving TV references because they keep flashing in my head, so I'm just going to give it to you, right? So I like the animated series, The North. What's it called? North something. It's on Fox. It's called North something. The Great North. It's called The Great North. It's a TV show about Alaska. It's a cute little family. There's one character, Honeybee. She reminds me a lot of myself. But I like that cartoon that cartoon family on Fox. Tell me if you watch The Great North, because I actually do enjoy the dialogue. But there was the latest episode, there was an episode where there was a particular character who's very, very rich, who has a brother who's also very, very rich. And they have a competitive streak between themselves. There's one particular brother who tries to outshine the other brother. And they're interesting because they have similar names. One's name is Rick, the other name was Dick. It was interesting. It's weird, but interesting. And the brother who always gets outshined, he's like, you know, I'm planning this, like, get back attack on my brother because my brother stole my ex-wife and, like, slept with her. And the father of the family from the Great North, he's like, oh no, you know, you shouldn't get back at your brother. I have a great relationship with my brother. I would never do that to my brother. You shouldn't do that. So the evil brother asks the nicer brother. They're all rich, so how nice can they be? But anyways, class warfare. But anyways, so the richy evil brother tells the richy nice brother to come to the wedding because he wants the nice brother to be a part of the celebration. The good brother's like, I don't trust him. The dad and the family's like, no, you should go to it. That's your brother. Trust it. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Good brother goes to the bad brother wedding and realizes the bad brother is marrying the bitch that... Let me not say that. The bad brother is marrying the good brother's ex-wife that he done slept with. And they were both in on it. And they were both plotting just to publicly humiliate the good brother. So the good brother goes off. And then the father from the Great North was like, oh, I didn't know that he would do that. I'm so sorry. And he's like, yeah, I'm publicly humiliated. I knew he was going to do that because that's who he is. Like, he's just an asshole. So, long story short, the dad from the Great North plans with the good brother to attack the evil brother with bats because the evil brother is petrified of bats. So, plan the attack. I say that to tell you, which the show episode is actually better than my description. You should watch if you're interested. And this is not a promo. They're not paying me. I said that to say is that a lot of time people project their own family upbringing and situation onto other people. It's sweet that you had a great family. It's sweet that your mother was always there for you. It's sweet that your daddy wiped your tears. It's sweet that you had a big brother that defended you. But not everybody has that story. And you cannot use your life as a measurement to judge other people's stories. Because oftentimes it comes off as gaslighting. Okay? And I know this particularly well myself. If you don't have the aptitude or the ability to empathize with someone who tells you that they did not come from a good family or they've experienced this type of trauma, the response is not, oh, you should forgive, you should get over it, that's still your parents, they meant no wrong, you doing too much. That is not the response. If you don't have the ability to console a person like that, or the ability to actually just listen and not say nothing, if you don't have it, just say, I sympathize, I want to sympathize with you, I want to empathize with you, but I'm not the best to have these type of discussions. So the person will know that it's not a them thing, it's a you thing. But oftentimes people don't like to put themselves in other people's shoes because they don't want to empathize that deep, and they want to believe that their example is everybody else's example, right? Their family dynamic is everybody's family dynamic. Their family relationship is everybody's family relationship. And oftentimes those type of people don't even see the bullish in their family. They don't see all the dust and mold and gunk that is tucked underneath the rug. The rug has a whole hill, but everybody walks around that hill just like the elephant in the room. So PSA for those, I guess the second PSA for those who just don't know. If you don't know and you don't care, just say it for what it is instead of just projecting what you've experienced onto other people. Some people don't have that ability to see it from a different perspective, and that's just them. But telling people like, oh, well, that's just your mother nonetheless, so you still have to deal with their less than stellar behavior, or we were discussing this on Twitter. Some people were talking about how it's not, you don't owe your family anything. You don't have to sit with the abusers in your family, the molesters in your family, the wrongdoers in your family. You don't have to pretend like everything's honky-dory. You don't have to pretend like this family supported you if they did not support you, if they abandoned you, if they've left you in very precarious situations. I feel like if that applies to you, very much take that message. You don't have to perform anything for nobody. You don't have to martyr for nobody. You don't have to take on the burdens, the hatred, the pain, the suffering for anybody else. Period. Wow, that just like jumped right across the room. Let me go get it. Two of Fire. So the Two of Fire here is literally a crossroad. But it's like, you know what to do. It just might be like not the answer people want to hear. Which is life. Sometimes we hear things that we don't want to hear. And I feel like with this crossroads, you see that child. I'm feeling very much that child wound, ending those cycles, ending those pains. I feel like it's very much, you know what to do, but it's just like whatever you choose will be a decision that might upset other people, that might anger people, have the jealousy, the envy, the spite, the whatever come out. But it's the best decision for you. And I feel like also watch out for sneak dissers. Watch out for people who say they're your friends, but like they're really like jealous of you, envious of you. Especially that lady who got harmed in Mexico by her supposed friends, but they really was her frenemies. Shaquila, I believe. Yeah. You better make sure that you ain't got none of her friends in your circle. You dig? But this Two of Fire here, what I'm seeing is that you know what to do. You just don't know if you can, I guess, live to see the results of it, which kind of sounds dramatic. And I do feel like it is dramatic. But it's the energy of like, if you set boundaries, what they gonna say? What will the neighbors say? So that means you're not coming for Christmas? It's one of those type of things where it's like, you don't want to deal with this, so you're prolonging like doing what you need to do. But it's kind of like, you already know what the decision is. You just don't want to necessarily live to see the side effects or live to see other people's reactions. And truth be told, you don't have to. Just because you are setting boundaries and like building, I guess, walls to like cut people out, does not mean that your light becomes dimmer. It just means that their ability to see your light becomes dimmer. They are seeing you from afar, but you still shine bright. You get it? Like, you don't need to be in someone's eye. You don't need to be in someone's gaze. You don't need someone to see you, document you, to know that you are living, to know that you are joyful, to know that your needs are met. Like, it's kind of like, if a tree falls in this forest and no one's there to hear it, does it still make a noise? I'm like, yes it does. Because sound does not exist because we're there to witness it. Sound exists because sound exists, unless it's like in a vacuum, but that would be like space. We live on Earth, so like, for the most part, a sound will be a sound whether we hear it or not. Our ability to witness it does not make it more or less audible. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you cut someone off does not mean like your life will be in peril or anything. It just means that the person won't have access to you, and it's their issue, right? It's not what you done did to them. It's not that you're an evil person, you're a bad person. Like none of that guilt tripping, none of that gaslighting, none of that triangulation. It's very much like from a clear point of view. Again, desert. This is fire energy, right? Two of fire, desert energy. You don't see nobody here. And you don't really see much here too. You see a little bit of shrubs here, but you don't really see hardcore vegetation. Like, it's kind of bleak. It's kind of, you get what you get, right? So I feel like with this is very much giving. It's kind of like karma. You get what you give. And I feel like some people really thought, regardless to what, you would still be around. There would still be access to you. Like, it's one of those things where this is a toxic relationship, but I'd rather stay in it because this is all I know type of energy, where for you it's like, no, this is not it. Like, if you're going to be transphobic, then I don't want to be here. If you're going to be racist, then I don't want to call you my dad. Like, it's one of those things where it's just like, I got to live in my values. I got to live in my ethics. I got to live in my principles. I got to live in my self-care. And if it's not here, then I'm not here. And that's just what that is. It's not a, well, that's your cousin, or, well, blood is thicker than water, or it's more so A, common sense, B, mental health, and C, free choice. You have agency, you have free will, and you can choose for yourself. You can think for yourself. Interestingly enough, right in front of your eyes, so you know you've seen it because you witnessed it. Even though it still would have been so, even if you were not here to witness it. But I'm glad that you are here to witness it. Because this is tarot, this is oracle, this is quote unquote magic. But I want you to see what I see. I say all of this to say is that we have ocean, ebb and flow, desert, vision, quest, 32, 3 and 2, make a meal, Empress 3, like in 32, family 23, like 32 but in reverse, and 2 of fire, like the 2 in 32. It resonates for who it needs to resonate. Let's see what's in the bottom of the deck here. 8. We have 8 of earth, because who it needs to resonate with, 8. Personal, infinity, connecting with you, the divine, connecting from source, connecting with your intuition, connecting with your third eye, with your crown, connecting with your roots, your grounding, what feels right to you, what feels secure to you, comforting to you. I feel like a lot of y'all have been listening to music. This is very much gospel season, not only because it's like a Sunday, but also it's that family, it's that soul, it's that gathering, but also it's that earthy, it's that flesh, it's that physical. And it's very much about what you need. With the 8 of earth, it's very much of that Virgo energy. It's very much of that magician energy. Virgo, magician, Gemini. It's that creation, it's that ability to manifest, but it's also being practical, it's being for real, right? Be effing for real. That's the phrase nowadays, right? That's what the young kids are saying. Be effing for real. You got to be for real with yourself first before you could be for real with anybody else, correct? Because again, if Lil Mommy on that Netflix series was serious about who she is, what she wants, and what really a partner is here for, she wouldn't have given her social security in less than 30 days to a rando on Twitter. Like, when you think about it out loud, it sounds crazy, because it is. But when you're in the thick of it, and you're getting those endorphins and the adrenaline rush, and they're sending you the pictures, and you're hearing the voice chats, and you get caught up in the delusional and not the practical. Right across, we talked about that opposition. Right across, when we're talking about that astrological wheel from Virgo, is Pisces. And we know all types of nicety, all types of la la land, all types of la la, all types of imagination, all types of passion is Pisces, right? But Pisces also gives you that love, joy, and happiness and health. But it also gives you that shadow energy of deception, of fraud, of enemies, right? That 12th house, the unseen. So you have to be real as you envision what you want your life to be, what the next chapter could be. You have to also be very practical, because when you're too up in the air, you're too floaty in the air, it's harder to pop your bubble, right? But once that balloon gets popped, it's a hard fall. Especially for y'all, if y'all invested in that FTX crypto thing, which I did not, because I didn't have the money to do so I was going to do it. But y'all who did, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. When you get too caught up in this and that and the advertisement and the workshops and you get this and you get that and whoop-de-whoop. You want to be in on it. Yeah, you want to be a part of it all. Yeah. And then it's gone. Just like that. So I feel like with this, it is also be effing for real with yourself. What you want, who you are, and how to achieve whatever the next chapter looks like for yourself, but in a practical, but still visionary, still creative, still authentic, but in a very much practical way. As a Taurus, I can only say it in a practical way. Virgo energy, right? And listen to some music, especially if that is what grounds you, if that what makes you feel good. I know for me, especially, I need to stretch as a person. I need to like feel my body and feel my feelings, feel my intuition, but I also need to work out my body, especially the older that I get. I like and enjoy exercising. I like and enjoy toning my body, but also sometimes, you know, you get a crick in your back, you get stiff here and there. Exercising allows me to be more fluid. It allows me to be more flexible, especially when you might sleep hard. I sometimes sleep on the right side or sleep heavy on this way versus that way, or whatever the case may be. And then I'll wake up with a crick, or I'll wake up with this and the third. That is about being intentional with this 8 of Earth of like, what will undo those aches and pains? Maybe it's a cup of chamomile. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's listening to music or podcasts or things that enlighten you, things that make you think of new ideas, things that make you want to go into your community and plant seeds. As you can see, like a tree is growing on top of this violin, right? It could be the energy of very much like finding people who have similar interests as you, and then, you know, working with those people. It could be a community thing. It could be a social justice thing, but it could also be like artsy. Like maybe you want to teach children how to play classical music. Maybe you want to start a community garden. But I see with this is very much like be your authentic self, because no one can play you. No one can manipulate you. No one can anything you when you have mastered yourself. And like when you can pull your own card, when you can set your own edges before you crash, excellent. Top tier. When you can do that, the ability to master yourself is what's going to help you be able to master the energies around you. And master your overall goals in life, your plans in life, who you are, your ability to pick yourself back up, the ability to not be bothered by things that used to put you in shambles, the ability to understand why something's a bad idea without necessarily having to test the theory, the ability to be like, oh, that used to excite me, but now I know that's some F-boy type of situation. Like, the ability to see where you are at, who you are, and where you ultimately want to be, or ultimately want to get to, is top tier. So that is what I have for the collective. Like I said, if you want to watch my full moon tarot videos, you can definitely check out my YouTube channel, Paint Your Truth. Usually I would do, or am promoting, process painting workshops, but it is the winter, and needless to say, I will not be painting outside. But if you are interested in painting workshops in the Massachusetts area, definitely reach out to me via email at paintyourtruth.art@gmail.com. Process painting indoors for clients who want to book a session. I will be providing all the materials. The client just has to decide a time and place. As we are booking, we will be discussing what the theme is, the clientele that will be coming, and all that jazz. So if that interests you, if you want to know what process painting looks like, and the people who have came to previous process painting workshops, definitely check out those videos on my Instagram page, paintyourtruth_. Don't forget the underscore. You can find me on social media. As I stated, Instagram, Paint Your Truth_, don't forget the underscore. Facebook, Paint Your Truth. Twitter, Paint Your Truth. And via email at paintyourtruth.art@gmail.com. If you would like to show your gratitude for this particular reading, you can always show your gratitude via Cash App at $VWCINE. Cash App, $VWC, as in cat, INE. But that is all I have for y'all for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for stumbling upon this video. If you stumbled upon it, it was meant for you to hear. It was meant for you to resonate with, and hopefully the messages that came through this reading really helped you navigate and figure out, or something popped out to you, something clicked and hit where you're like, yeah, that this is the confirmation. Now I can move on to the next step, or start thinking about what the next steps look like for me. Let us tap 3 more times with the singing bowl just to close this out, as we did previously. Inhale, then exhale 3 times with the singing bowl.